Welcome back to another episode of Spectating Silver, where we take a deep dive into low-rank Valorant gameplay and expose hidden mistakes keeping players from ranking up. Today, we're watching fellow YouTuber Yuttsukki playing ISO in a bronze-silver lobby, so get ready for some clutch plays, questionable decisions, and lessons you won't want to miss. Oh, and before we start, did you know hitting the subscribe button instantly increases your chance of winning your next ranked match? It's true, I don't make the rules, I just enforce them. So go ahead, test it out. Worst case, you get more Valorant content. Best case, you hit gold. Alright, let's get into it. We're kicking things off on Pearl, and right away we see our ISO pushing A alone. No backup, no trade potential, just pure solo queue energy. Luckily, the enemy team isn't on A, so he quickly calms to his teammates to play back while he rotates over.
Wait, I'm coming. We play it together.
Now, this is a great example of simple but effective comms. The team regroups, cleans up the round, easy dub. Round 2 looks almost identical, except this time Omen pushes up with ISO. Vice throws a flash. ISO actually looks away in time, solid discipline. But then, things go south. The entire team swings in and suddenly it's a 2v5. Team is down 2 players, round lost. Now what could have been done better? Push back sooner. This was an ego peak, and against a team that actually pushes together, that's a one-way ticket to the spectator screen. ISO starts by holding A and listening for sound cues, but doesn't hear what he's looking for. Rotates back, and then a teammate calls out 4 mid. ISO, for some reason, decides to push towards Art with a classic. That's 4 people versus 1 classic. You do the math. Spoiler alert, he dies. He does land a nice vulnerability on 3 enemies, but at the end of the day, bad positioning beats good aim every time. If you hear 4 people mid, you don't push mid with a classic. You find cover, set up crossfires, or rotate. ISO redeems himself here. He pushes through Art, wraps through mid, and gets to B site. He plays it aggressive, he gets behind box, takes out Sage, and then deletes Wingman. Goodbye, little guy. Now the enemy is panicking. Great crosshair placement, he takes out Brimstone. Then plays it slow and patient before securing the final kill on Vice. Perfect example of how playing smart and waiting for enemies to make mistakes wins rounds. Back to A, where ISO is immediately met with a buffet of enemy utility. He manages to escape with minor injuries and uses his ult to take out Yoru. Then we see something I love to see at this rank. He slows down his spray and takes out Gecko with controlled shots. Slow, steady, accurate. Same setup as last round, but this time ISO gets stuck in Cubby and gets absolutely rolled. If you're holding A site and you don't have an easy way out, either reposition sooner or do not commit this deep. It's as simple as that. This one looks a little too familiar. ISO pushes Art with a Marshall, sees multiple enemies, and instead of backing out, he takes the fight and dies. Low ranks, hear me out. If you peek and you see more enemies than you have teammates with you, back out. This isn't a hero movie. There's no 1v5 clutch montage waiting for you. Get to safety and live to fight another day. ISO starts strong, gets 2 quick kills, but then gets baited by Gecko and overextends. Now, put simply, he got greedy. Sometimes knowing when not to take the extra fight is just as important as knowing when to push. ISO starts A side, but as soon as he hears pressure at mid, he makes the quick rotation. Now this is where I actually like what he does. He uses his ult aggressively, catches Vice completely off guard, and takes him out with 0 risk. That's exactly how you want to use ISO's ult. Not as a panic button, but as an opportunity creator. The team collapses on site perfectly, securing kills across the board, and boom. Team ace. This was solid teamwork, and even though ISO wasn't fragging out the whole round, his ult set them up for success. These are the types of plays that can swing momentum in your favor. Alright, let's talk about patience, because this round, yeah, not a fan. ISO starts off in Art, then he hears footsteps on A. So far, so good, right? Well, instead of waiting for more intel, he just walks straight through a brim smoke like it's not even there. And guess what happens? He gets beamed instantly. Honestly, not much happened round 11, so moving on to round 12. Now this round I like. ISO starts A, hears enemies at art, but this time, instead of running in blind, he actually waits for the smoke to fade. I love to see it. The patience pays off. He picks up a solid headshot on Vice and moves toward mid, but unfortunately gets traded by Yoru. The team still closes the round though, and they go into halftime up 8-4. Pistol round, and the team calls for a B-long push. Everything looks fine at first. Vice puts up the wall, and ISO is sitting behind it, waiting. So far, so good. But then, impatience strikes. The moment the Vice wall drops, ISO full sprints through the smoke like he's trying to break a world record. Now let's think about this for a second. If you were on defense, and you just put up a Vice wall, what's the first thing you do when it disappears? Exactly, you'd be holding the angle. Alright, this one confused me. ISO goes for an A-side push, but as the team moves through mid, he randomly breaks Sage's wall alone, while his entire team is pushing somewhere else. If this was meant to be a distraction, I respect the attempt, but without a proper gun or teammates to trade, it's just an unnecessary fight. And of course, Gecko wins the duel with a Guardian. Now the lesson here, play with your team. Solo hero plays rarely work in low ranks. This round starts off with ISO pushing mid, and he makes the big mistake of jumping on the mid wall like he's invincible. Now spoiler alert, he's not. Yoru is already holding the angle and shuts him down instantly. I get the idea, you want to take control of mid, but if you're exposing yourself with no cover, you're just a free kill. Now we finally get a more patient ISO this round. The team goes for a B long push, and while he plays it riskier than I'd recommend, he actually stays alive long enough to let his team get the spike down. This is how you should be playing ISO, creating space without getting yourself killed immediately. Team closes it out. Now, good round overall. This is one of the biggest mistakes low-ranked players make, and ISO is guilty of it here. After a long fight and a last-second defuse, ISO's team loses the round. But he has a Vandal and actually makes it out alive. Awesome, right? Well, wrong. Seconds later, he randomly gets himself killed, throwing away a full buy gun. In low ranks, econ management is everything. If you're able to save a good gun for next round, do it. Buying shields, abilities, and rifles isn't cheap, and every weapon saved gives you an advantage. Round 18, back to A site. The team breaks Sage wall, and ISO gets in for the plant. This time, he does something smart. He waits off site, ult ready, and when the time is right, boom, ult secured the round. This is how you use ISO's ult properly. Not randomly mid-round, but when you know it will secure a round. Good job, ISO. This round is a win. Another A push, but this time ISO plays a bit too passively. He picks up a great headshot on Brimstone, but instead of holding site, he goes back to his usual off-site hiding spot, where Yoru is just waiting to take him out. If you're playing site, hold site. If you're going to reposition, do it with purpose. Standing in a predictable off-site position isn't helpful. Final round, the team goes A site, quickly gains numbers advantage, plants spike, and cleans up the round for the win. This was the cleanest round of the game. GG's all around. Alright, as this last round plays out, we'll go over the final key takeaways. So, we've seen it all. Good plays, bad habits, and the classic low-rank mistakes that keep players stuck in bronze and silver. If there's one thing to take away from this, it's that small changes can lead to big improvements. Let's break down the biggest takeaways from today's gameplay. 1. Don't ego peek when you're outnumbered. We saw multiple rounds where ISO pushed aggressively into multiple enemies with no backup and no escape plan. If you peek and see 2 or more enemies, back out, reposition, set up crossfires, and play smarter fights. 2. Play with your team, not away from them. ISO took a lot of solo fights that left his team without a key player when they needed him. Stick with your teammates to trade kills and increase your chances of winning rounds. 3. Use utility wisely and at the right time. Rushing through vice walls or smokes immediately is a one-way ticket to getting deleted. So be patient, bait out shots, and use your abilities smartly before making a move. 4. Play off-site intelligently. ISO often repositioned away from site after planting, but got caught in predictable spots. 5. Economy management matters. Wasting guns when you could save hurts your ability to buy in future rounds. If you save a lost round with a rifle, do not throw it away next round. 6. Adapt your playstyle mid-game. Fast pushing doesn't always work, and neither does playing too slow. If something isn't working, change the pace and force the enemy to play outside of their comfort zone. Now that wraps up another Spectating Silver. A huge shout out to Yuttsukki for submitting this gameplay. If you want me to break down your gameplay, drop a comment below. Want to find teammates who actually communicate? Join the Discord and level up your game. Link is in the description. Alright, if you've made it this far and haven't hit that subscribe button yet, I've got bad news for you. Your next ranked game? Full of insta-lock duelists who don't calm, but don't worry, you can reverse the curse. Just hit subscribe, and I promise your next game will have actual teammates who play off of each other. Probably, maybe, no guarantees, but hey, it's worth a shot. So go ahead, hit that button. It's free, helps the channel, and who knows, maybe it actually does boost your RR. This is Fizz, GG, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck out there.